This is a Dragon Blazer production.
My name still sucks. Welcome to the Pro Wrestling Apologists podcast, where we are real Americans and we love pro wrestling, and sometimes both of those things are okay.
Only sometimes.
This is your host, Craig Atkins. I have a whole stable of people here today.
Stable. Hey.
We got the usual Steven over here.
Disgusting.
Hey, how's it going?
We got Summer over there.
Drunk Summer from...
We have Cornucopia over here.
Cornucopia. Terrific.
Kezaya.
I'm jealous that she
We
has
have
a full
Davey
name.
way over there.
Davey's all the way
Cook
over
Davey,
there.
to be exact. Cook Davey,
Coach Davey.
who is my boyfriend and her
And my
boyfriend.
We have a round table of people who here actually watches wrestling.
Me. But
Summer, you actually watch wrestling?
It's
I
been
don't
a bit.
watch wrestling. I only watch it when Steven forces me because he won't change the channel.
California does not watch wrestling.
Wow, that doesn't surprise me. They don't use straws either.
Also,
No, he's saying me. He just doesn't. He doesn't want to say my name right.
We can't even take a shot, so calm down, Cornucopia.
I'm really scared.
Name
I don't want to take a
is-
shot.
Kazuki.
Kazuki.
so,
All right.
I thought it was kamikaze, so I guess we're all on the same page.
so drunk Summer is from the Drunk Like Me podcast.
Yes, the Drunk Like Me podcast. She does this podcast with Steven over here.
Correct.
Everybody just does a
It's-
podcast with Steven.
It's such a good podcast I don't watch the show, and I just listen to it because I enjoy Summer laying into Steven.
Oh, that's all it is.
all it
Always,
is.
even that's whole.
picks on
That's our
Steven,
whole
I enjoy it.
That's our whole friendship right there.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
man.
it's everybody's friendship with Steven.
If you really want a show, you should come to
True
karaoke
story.
and watch Steven get laid into by Summer at karaoke. It's
Oh my gosh.
better. 'cause
And you know what? It's a twofer because then you
It's
get
a
to see the
twofer.
Alabama boys with
the
their
Bama
cousins
boys.
just making out with each other and singing sweet
I'm gonna go
Alabama
ahead
love
and
songs to each other.
Literally sing nothing but Alabama
Only,
songs.
We call
I
them
swear to
the
God.
One band is alive, and that's Alabama.
You guys missed last week. There was this one guy. He literally had, I don't even know what was going on with this man, but he thought the world was his oyster, and he was just going on and on. The big guy with the cane. And then
Speaking
some other,
of big guys named Kane, we're going to go
there we
right
go. See, I
with
set you up perfectly.
this podcast.
Could you guys shut up?
As you might know, if you're a good and loyal listener, we dropped a bonus episode this week where we covered AEW Special Event Fighter Fest. So you can hear our opinions on that show. If you flip back to that episode, go ahead, do that. We'll wait.
Time's up.
All right, welcome back. Glad you caught up. Okay. So, not a lot of news this week besides the big shows we already covered. So let's get right into the juicy patty at the center of this podcast burger. We're doing a quick and dirty profile on, well, I'll wait until you guys figure it out. You guys will figure it out along the story.
I probably won't. Fair one.
Angus King. Does that ring a bell?
No.
Doomsday.
No.
Bruiser Mastino.
Ooh,
The Christmas Creature.
I think I know.
None of those names ring a bell.
What the fuck is a Christmas tree?
Probably shouldn't ring a bell. What about Mike Unabomber? No. Okay, what about Isaac Yankum DDS?
I do remember that one.
Getting a little more familiar. Isaac Yankum makes his debut as Jerry Lawler's private dentist on the June 26, 1995 episode of Raw. A 7-foot monstrosity in dentistry with extremely questionable bedside manner. I am 100% sure he fills cavities using that old mercury composite filling.
Great times.
Everybody remembers that.
Good times.
Where it causes painful conduction in your mouth when you bite down on aluminum foil.
Pretty sure my dentist still uses that.
Jerry Lawler hires Yankum to help him rid the WWF of his longtime rival Bret the Hitman Hart. Yankum's in-ring debut occurred at a Superstars taping on August 15th, where he lost to Hart by countout. At that month's SummerSlam, Yankum was disqualified when he hung Hart up on the top and middle ropes by his neck. He lost to Hart in a steel cage match in the main event of the October 16th episode of Raw, and then in a tag team match with his favorite patient and wrestling boss, Jerry Lawler, against Hart and Hakushi. After his feud with Hart, Yankum and his team, the Royals, Isaac Yankum, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Jerry Lawler, and King Mabel, lost to the Dark Side, Fatu, Henry O. Godwin, Savio Vega, and The Undertaker. This was at Survivor Series. You know, where they did the elimination tag matches with that. They used to have them themed back then. Yankum competed in the 1996 Royal Rumble in January. Surprisingly, didn't go on to be the first dentist to win the Royal Rumble. Soon after, the gimmick of Isaac Yankum DDS was retired.
Okay, wait a minute. Did you say he hung a man from the rope?
It's a wrestling thing.
Okay, so the guy didn't actually die.
No, wrestlers care about each other's teeth so much. You got a pretty mouth, boy.
Not when I knock your teeth out.
In September 1996, good old JR Jim Ross introduced Diesel. But this Diesel looked an awful lot like Isaac Yankum DDS, along with Razor Ramon, who looked an awful lot like Rick Bogner. You guys know who Rick Bogner is?
Ricky Bobby?
Absolutely not.
Nobody knows who Rick Bogner is. I don't know. I guess he's the new Razor Ramon. Just deal with it. For some dumb reason, Vince and the WWF decided to gimmick these two men into the fake Diesel and Ramon to mock the departure of the real Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, who went on to WCW, and they did some stuff over there. They were kind of a big deal, brother.
Brother.
And as I mentioned, they were introduced by Jim Ross, who was portrayed as a disgruntled employee. The faux outsiders competed primarily as a tag team. They didn't last long because this was stupid. There's another one of the many awful gimmicks of our subjects today. But this would be the last of those terrible gimmicks. Does anybody have any idea who we're talking about yet?
Kane the Undertaker.
Maybe. On April 1997, the WWF started to slowly build to the debut of a new mysterious character. At In Your House 14, Revenge of the Taker, The Undertaker. We know this one, right?
Yeah.
I know Undertaker.
Yeah. I would hope you all know Undertaker.
Sorry, I'm quiet because I have no clue who that is.
He had a match against Mankind. During the match, Taker's former manager, Paul Bearer, attempted to interfere to help Mankind win. Bearer was met with a damn fireball to his face.
Is this the whole of Mankind, or is this just one
This is
person?
a wrestler.
I mean,
named
you're
Mankind. It was not
Mankind.
all
When was the
humanity.
last time there was a fireball?
So I've met, and he's awesome.
Sorry.
Courtesy of mystical in-ring magical powers of the dead man, he shot a damned fireball into the face of Paul Bearer.
What kind of fireball are we talking?
A literal fireball, a ball of actual hot fire.
Not the liquid.
Not what I'm drinking.
Not liquid.
On the May 12th episode of Raw, Mankind introduced Bearer, who attempted to reunite with Taker, willing to put this fireball to the face thing aside. Taker's reluctant, and Bearer goes on to reveal the Undertaker's biggest secret. Taker declines Bearer's offer to once again align with him. Bearer began tormenting him by telling him that his long-lost brother, who Taker had thought was dead, was coming to the WWF to challenge him.
Oh no.
In the ensuing months, Bearer implied that Undertaker had murdered his family by starting a fire at their funeral home. As you know, when the dead man was a little boy, his family just lived in the funeral home. That
He
checks.
just lived there.
As one does.
As one does.
At least you always got people to play with.
Oh!
But Bearer
That's
tells
cool.
him that not
Literally.
everyone in his family died. Taker's little brother is alive, but was left physically and mentally scarred by the residential funeral home fire.
Was it a residential fire or a funeral home
It was a
fire?
residential funeral home fire.
So
You gotta
they
keep
lived
up.
at the funeral home.
You gotta-
Calm down,
Let's
Calabasas.
sober up a little bit and pay attention. He
Calabasas.
lived in a funeral home. Calabasas. All right, Kentucky. Chill out.
Thanks for coming to the show a little late.
Did you call me Kentucky?
Yes.
Get out.
Listen, Jimmy Chupa.
You better sign off my real name. I'm going to be so sad.
Undertaker claimed that his little brother by the name of Kane,
Dun, dun,
that's
dun.
sounding more familiar, was a pyromaniac. And he was actually the one who started the fire and could not possibly have survived. This is some great soap opera shit. I loved all of this.
This is Jerry Springer times 10. This is
yes.
Dr.
Well, this
Phil.
is beyond.
This is Dr. Phil level.
I always figured Dr. Phil was like a step down.
Dr. Phil has done some stuff,
Editing.
man.
Alright. Well, we're going to bring this back
My
on the
favorite
rails.
kind.
I loved all this shit, but man, I can't see any of this getting over today. Okay, now we got cats.
Your cat.
No, that's just me.
Podcast
I'm
is
sorry.
Very upset about Kane, man. He's super upset.
He's like, hold on, the kitties.
back on the rails. At Bad Blood in your house on October 5th, 1997, in the first ever Hell in a Cell match, Undertaker is just about to finish off Shawn Michaels in a hard-fought match. He does the cut across the throat, signaling the signature move, the Tombstone Piledriver, and the lights go out. And then a red light fills the arena.
Oh, no.
Oh, snap.
I know.
Oh, snap.
Paul Bearer comes out following behind a large man in red, wearing a red leathery mask. This man had a very similar size and stature to a dentist that had previously wrestled for the company. I'm sure that's not related.
Nah,
Not at all. I don't see any
I
relations.
don't see
No.
what you're getting at there.
Undertaker looks like he's seen a ghost. JR with the classic line, "That's gotta be Kane! That's gotta be Kane!"
Do they all have classic lines? I don't watch
Okay.
wrestling.
Yes.
Kane rips the door right off the cell. Kane and Taker have a face-off. Taker is flabbergasted. Kane lifts his hands up in the air, drops them, shooting flames up through the 4 ring posts. Taker jumps back in shock from the flames. Kane kicks him in the midsection, picks him up, and gives him the Tombstone Piledriver, costing him the match. This is a historic moment, one of the best debuts in wrestling history.
Yeah.
And this is one of the most memorable moments in history for me. One of my favorite moments.
It was awesome. I remember when he just that was when he ripped out off the cage.
Ripped
That
off
was
the cage,
awesome.
or the
Yeah.
door of the cage. Yeah.
Broke on through to the other
But
side.
they just don't do debuts like that.
No.
And to conceal the burns from the residential funeral home fire, he wears a mask with his long hair and red and black attire that almost covered his entire body. Kane also couldn't speak because of the fire.
Yeah, fire. Fire does that.
Kane
All the
won.
time.
Kane won his first match against Mankind at Survivor Series. The Undertaker initially refused to face him, saying he would not fight his own flesh and blood. After a brief partnership, Kane betrayed The Undertaker when he cost him the WWF Championship when Kane interfered in his title match against Shawn Michaels at the Royal Rumble. After the match, Kane locked Undertaker in a casket and set it on damn fire.
Jeez.
Really
That's
is.
how I want to go
There's
out.
so
Okay,
much
wait a
fire.
minute. I have some questions.
What could you possibly need, Colorado?
Listen, her name is Canada.
Okay, is this the... I'm confused. Like, do they all have backstories like this? Do they all live in funeral homes?
Everybody's
and
got a
start
backstory.
fires?
You've got a backstory. I've got a backstory.
I've got a
But I doubt
backstory.
your backstory is I'm going to live in a funeral home and set it on
Don't.
fire.
I mean, that's
No,
how
You
mine
don't
would be.
know me.
I set my brother on fire. That's why they call me Blaze on another show.
Did you really
I don't
set
think that's
Ricky
why
on
they call
fire?
you Blazing on another show.
All right, we're getting back on the rails here. Okay. Damn fire. Though it was later revealed that Undertaker managed to escape the casket without being seen before Kane set it on fire. The following month, The Undertaker returned and defeated Kane at WrestleMania 14. After the match, Kane and Paul Bearer attacked The Undertaker. They continued to feud until Forgiven in Your House on April 26th, when Undertaker defeated Kane in an Inferno match. Back to the fire again. Remember Inferno matches?
Fire!
Just the winner sets the opponent on damn fire.
This is a
normally the
lot.
arm.
It's what this podcast is.
Damn fire. A
And
lot of fire.
A lot of damn fire. In this match, Bearer tried to help Kane by attacking Undertaker. But as Kane was retreating backstage, Vader, remember Vader?
Yeah.
Forced Kane back toward the ring, and The Undertaker attacked the heels by jumping over the ring ropes surrounded by fire before setting Kane's right arm on damn fire.
Jesus, more fire.
Yeah, just so much fire. Kane then went on to feud with Vader at Over the Edge in Your House. He defeated Vader in a mask versus mask match, where Vader finally removed the mask that had a few little tiny straps on it to reveal the face that you can mostly see anyway.
I'm learning so much.
You are, that's why you're here. Okay. On the June 1st episode of Raw is War, Kane defeated The Undertaker to become the number one contender to the WWF Championship. At the King of the Ring, Kane actually defeated Stone Cold Steve Austin in a First Blood match. Remember First Blood match? First person draws blood. Following interference by Mankind and Undertaker, and Kane actually won the WWF Championship. You remember when Kane won that match?
I actually remember that. I did watch
and
that.
Kane actually carried. Probably don't even remember that. Kane carried the WWF.
Yep.
Oh, wait. You talking when he won the title?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was at the Raw after that happened.
Oh,
Really?
So you probably remember what happened the next day then, don't you?
A little bit.
Yeah, what happened the next day?
Shoot, it's been a while.
Stone Cold just won it back the next day.
That's right.
Kane
Yeah,
carried-
he lost it the next night.
Kane
That's right.
carried the title for one entire day.
Right.
I was at that Raw where everybody was sad.
So, Kane then went on to form a tag team with Mankind, with whom he won the WWF Tag Team Championship twice after losing the titles and turning on Mankind. Kane formed an alliance with his brother, The Undertaker, team known as Brothers of Destruction. At Breakdown in Your House, Kane, The Undertaker, and Stone Cold Steve Austin competed in a triple threat match for the Austin's WWF Championship. Kane and Undertaker were prohibited from pinning each other in some convoluted horse shit, so they pinned Austin at the same time. This mess led to the WWF title being vacated. The brothers fought each other for the vacant WWF Championship at Judgment Day in Your House. Everything was in Your House at the time. With the match ending in a no contest when special guest referee Stone Cold Steve Austin counted a double pinfall and declared himself the winner. I don't think that flies. I don't think the referee can invoke a "fuck it, I'm the champ" clause.
I don't think Austin gives a shit.
During the match, The Undertaker betrayed Kane and reunited with Paul Bearer at Rock Bottom in Your House. Always in your house. Kane interfered in the Buried Alive match between Austin, The Undertaker, attacking Undertaker, and costing him the match. As a result, the corporation had Kane committed to an insane asylum. And then in December, Kane joined the corporation to stay out of the insane asylum. That easy. Join us or get committed. He was later betrayed by the corporation and thrown out of the alliance anyway. So, Kane then went on, he's a babyface now. Kane then went on to, babyface whose face can't be seen. He went on to form a tag team with X-Pac, which was like my favorite tag team at the time. Young Craig was a huge fan of this union. Kane even acquired a girlfriend, Tori, while teaming with X-Pac. Do you remember this team of Kane and X-Pac?
Not
How do you not
too
remember?
well.
This was my favorite team.
Not too well.
Kane,
I remember him becoming, like, getting a girlfriend. I remember that part, but I don't remember the team thing.
Kane started to evolve. He becomes an unofficial member of DX. Sort of like Summer, you're an unofficial member of the Pro Wrestling Apologists podcast today.
Maybe I'll be cool enough to be officially a member one day.
Like a Pokemon.
He becomes an unofficial member of DX. In a promo, his pal X-Pac says, if you ain't down with X-Pac and Kane becoming the tag team champions, then Kane has 2 words for you. Kane, who doesn't speak. He started speaking a little bit with, what do you call the machine that you put on your larynx?
Oh,
electro-larynx.
When you get a tracheotomy.
Yeah. Kane would speak with that every once in a while. So Road Dogg hands Kane his little machine, which he had previously used to speak with on occasion, not very often. And Kane raises it to his larynx, and X-Pac snatches it from his hand and says, you don't need that damn thing anymore. And Kane finally utters his first words into the microphone. Profound words. Those words were, suck it. So, something like that. Team celebrates. They point at their crotch. All the stuff DX did at the time. Watching back now, it's damn silly. But as a young 16-year-old dopey kid, this was like the moment for me.
Right.
I think I wiped a tear. He said suck it, guys. All by himself. I can't believe he said suck it.
So proud of my boy. He's growing up.
My big red machine has finally grown up and said suck it. So yeah, the big red machine asked to suck the proverbial it. You remember this? How big this actually felt? For some reason. It's silly looking back on it, but it was.
I remember because the next day at school, everybody was like, and I was
what were they saying? Stop.
Okay. Yeah, they were like saying it all weird, and I was like, I don't understand. And then I saw it, and I was like, suck it. Gotcha.
Suck it, yeah.
So the duo won the WWF Tag Team Championship twice. I loved this team. I don't know why I loved X-Pac and Kane so much.
I like
Copyright infringement.
Right.
Then, in a sad day for young Craig, the tag team broke apart when during a match with the Dudley Boys, X-Pac tags his partner Kane in, gets behind Kane, punches him in the dick.
Aww.
Wait, hold on. What was that last part?
X-Pac punched his beloved partner who he spoke.
In the dick?
He learned how to speak. He punched him in the dick.
Wow, that's just a...
Did he talk in soprano through the machine after that?
No, he just... But he was pissed.
Sure.
He gives him the X Factor, and Kane reunites with DX. Kane and X-Pac, why am I having trouble saying that today? Then engaged in a lengthy feud against each other into early 2000 when Kane's girlfriend Tori betrayed Kane and joined X-Pac and DX. The former partners' feud eventually ended at WrestleMania 2000 where Kane teamed with Rikishi to defeat X-Pac and Road Dogg. Kane returned on the May 29th episode of Raw when he helped The Undertaker and The Rock fight off the McMahon-Helmsley faction. His involvement in this feud culminated in a main event match at King of the Ring against Vince and Shane McMahon, and then champion Triple H. The Undertaker and Kane's rivalry returns, leading to a match between the two at SummerSlam. The match ended when The Undertaker removed Kane's mask, causing him to flee the ring, but Kane kept his face covered so nobody saw his face. Mm-hmm. Kane stayed in contention for the WWF Championship for the rest of the year and ended 2000 in a feud with Chris Jericho. Kane defeated him at Survivor Series and again at Rebellion, and he ultimately lost to Jericho in a last man standing match at Armageddon. Kane once again reformed his alliance with The Undertaker immediately after the Royal Rumble, where he eliminated 11 wrestlers and was the runner-up after being eliminated by Steve Austin in early 2001. Kane competed for the Hardcore Championship, defeating Raven for the title at WrestleMania 17. in a triple threat match with The Big Show. Kane and The Undertaker began teaming as the Brothers of Destruction again. In the course of the year, they feuded with Edge and Christian, Rikishi and Haku, and at Judgment Day, Kane defeated Triple H to win the WWF Intercontinental Championship. Kane lost the title to Albert on an episode of SmackDown following interference from Diamond Dallas Page during the WCW ECW invasion. Kane and Undertaker feuded with Page and Chris Kanyon. Who better than Kanyon? After Page began stalking The Undertaker's wife, Sarah, the feud culminated at SummerSlam where they defeated Page and Kanyon in a steel cage match, resulting in them both holding the WWF Tag Team and WCW Tag Team Championships at the same time. Kane and The Undertaker defeated Chronic at Unforgiven, and Chronic didn't last very long. They were a WCW team brought over, they didn't last. At Unforgiven, and both won in the 10-man winner-takes-all match at Survivor Series as members of Team WWF. Okay, on March 25th, the WWF was divided into two brands, Raw and SmackDown, with Kane being drafted to Raw. Kane shortly feuded with the New World Order, who is now in WWF, and began acting more human and speaking more clearly by talking through his mask and referring to his fans as Canaanites.
Canaanites.
It was like a Hulk Hogan thing. Kane was acting like Hulk Hogan and calling his fans Canaanites.
Yes, because when I see Kane, I think of Hulk Hogan.
And he changed his mask to a sort of half mask where you could see his newly chatty mouth.
Kind of liked his half mask, though.
Did you have a mustache?
No.
Oh.
Or he did have like a goatee.
Much disappointed if he didn't.
He had a goatee. WWF has now gotten the F out and is WWE, and Kane debuts as part of the Raw roster in August of 2002. On the September 23rd episode of Raw, Kane won the World Tag Team Championships with Hurricane after defeating Lance Storm and Christian. The following week on Raw, Kane won the Intercontinental Championship from Chris Jericho, despite interference from Triple H and Ric Flair. On the October 7th episode of Raw, Kane successfully, single-handedly defended the World Tag Team Championship in a 4-team tables, ladders, and chairs match, as the Hurricane had been attacked earlier that evening by Triple H and Ric Flair and was unable to compete. They lost the titles to Chris Jericho and Christian the following week on Raw. Kane then began feuding with Triple H, leading to a match at No Mercy on October 20th, in which both Kane's Intercontinental Championship and Triple H's World Heavyweight Championship were at stake. Now we get into some real memorable, stupid stuff.
My favorite stuff.
In the weeks preceding the match, Triple H claimed that several years earlier, Kane had a relationship with a woman named Katie Vick. He claimed that after Vick was killed in a car crash, Kane had sex with her corpse.
Yikes.
Triple H later threatened to show video footage of Kane having sex with Katie Vick's corpse. However, the footage that finally aired showed Triple H dressed as Kane, humping a mannequin in a casket. This is obviously considered one of the worst, if not the absolute worst segments of all time. It was just stupid. It was awful. Terrible. Everybody hated it. Kane's tag team partner, the Hurricane, responded the following week by showing a video of Triple H, rather than someone wearing Triple H mask, getting an enema. The stupidity continues. Triple H defeated Kane at No Mercy due to Triple H and Flair cheating. They finally killed all the stupid stuff, and they unified the two titles. On the October 28th episode of Raw, Kane defeated Triple H in a non-title casket match. No mannequins were in the casket. To end their feud at Survivor Series, Kane participated in the first ever Elimination Chamber match for the World Heavyweight Championship, which was won by Shawn Michaels. Kane then formed a tag team with Rob Van Dam, with the duo eventually winning the tag team championships. He won tag team championships with everybody.
Yeah, he won a lot. And seems like he liked I'm a big guy, and I grab a short, fast, speedy guy with me.
After they lost their World Tag Team Championship to La Resistance at Bad Blood, Triple H offered Kane a spot in his stable Evolution. What a guy. Raw co-general manager Stone Cold Steve Austin made another offer for Kane to have the opportunity to face Triple H for the World Heavyweight Championship. If he rejected Triple H's offer, however, co-general manager Eric Bischoff, at the time Bischoff and Stone Cold were like co-general managers, with Stone Cold being the face, Eric Bischoff being the heel. Bischoff insists that if Kane lost the match, he would have to take his mask off. Kane accepted Austin's offer, and I guess Bischoff's offer, and challenged Triple H the following week in Madison Square Garden. Triple H won the match following the interference from Evolution. And on the June 23rd, 2003 episode of Raw, Kane, for the first time ever, removed his mask. And oh, the horrors, the grotesque burns. And no, there weren't any burns. He just had like black makeup smeared on his face.
Oh, dear Lord.
And the revelation that the long hair was actually part of the mask. He had like a horseshoe haircut.
Yeah.
You remember this? You remember Kane unmasking?
I do. I do remember the unmasking.
The unmasking made Kane go off the deep end, a sort of gimmick change for Kane. He acted more psychotic and like a serial killer type character. He had bald head, no eyebrows, never trust someone without eyebrows. He was much more sadistic and scarier than he was with the mask on. In an interview with Jim Ross, Kane attacked Ross and set him on damn fire.
Not fire again!
It's a theme. He later attacked Linda McMahon on the Raw stage, starting an entertaining feud between Kane and Shane McMahon, with Kane defeating Shane in a last man standing match at Unforgiven and an ambulance match at Survivor Series later in the night. Kane also interfered in a buried alive match between Vince McMahon and The Undertaker, helping McMahon bury The Undertaker to win the match. In January 2004, Kane took part in the Royal Rumble match. He was eliminated when he heard the bell toll from The Undertaker's entrance music, distracting Kane, enabling Booker T to eliminate him. Over the following weeks, Kane repeatedly insisted that The Undertaker was dead, only to be met with various mystical, magical, dead man wrestling events, such as a rainstorm in the ring above him. Yeah. That kind of stuff. The Undertaker stuff.
Undertaker stuff.
The Undertaker finally returned at WrestleMania 20 as the Dead Man, with the American Badass having been buried alive and retired, with Paul Bearer at his side defeating Kane. And this is where we're going to take a break and end part one of the man known as Kane. It's pretty exciting stuff so far, huh?
Very, very. Yeah. I'm excited. It's like a soap opera. Yeah, it's like a very trashy soap opera.
Yes,
I love it. It's great.
This was Attitude Era stuff. This was
well, now we're
fun
to get into,
yet kind of stupid Attitude Era stuff.
Now we're starting to get into ruthless aggression, wasn't it?
Yes, that's where we're starting to get into now. Kane still has a long career ahead of him.
Right. I remember watching this stuff though as I was young and just thinking, God, that's so cool. And then hearing everything as an adult, and I'm like...
Kane was a cool... He was a really cool, interesting character.
Right, because you never knew what to expect, especially after he, I don't know, all of it. You never know what... Right. You never knew what to expect. But I remember,
seeing... involved fire.
Right, and then, seeing The Undertaker for the first time, and the whole, eye roll thing. I don't know. All of this is just bringing back so many memories of when I was a grunt. When I was young, watching wrestling. You can
watch it all on the WWE Network. It's all there.
And I will.
$10 a month.
I will.
not getting paid by WWE.
This is not a commercial
but I
or promotion.
just love WWE Network. So yeah, next week in part 2 of my profile on the impressive and lengthy career of the Big Red Machine Kane, Kane transitions into a serial killer on the big screen. There's fire, some more fire. There's baby punting.
Baby punting.
Baby punting.
Yes.
Favorite
There's
pastime.
counseling. There's counseling. There's another incredible, unlikely tag team that I enjoyed very much. There's politics.
Ooh.
All that and so much more. We'll also be watching part 2 of AEW's Fyter Fest. Open wide. Daddy's feeding you some podcast dessert.
Ooh.
Steven, plug your pluggables.
Alright, well, you can follow me on Dragon Blazer Productions on my Facebook page and also on my Instagram.
Sorry, go ahead.
Also, you can follow me on Twitter at Dragon Blazer Pro.
Summer, do you have anything to plug?
No.
I hear you have a podcast.
We do.
We do?
We have a Dead Like Me podcast where we watch
What's
the
that
episode.
podcast called?
Dead Like Me. No, Drunk Like Me. My
Drunk
bad.
Like Me.
I've already started
Drunk
preparing.
Like you currently.
I've already started preparing for the podcast that we're going to do next.
Yes, we're about to do that right after this
But,
episode goes off.
Yeah, check it out. We're a little less PG-13.
It's a fun podcast. I believe I said earlier I don't watch the show, but I still listen to the podcast because I enjoy
It's a good time.
Give Steven a hard time.
Always.
And of course, you can follow this show at PW Apologists. And forever and always, we love professional wrestling. And sometimes that's okay.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.